Hello and welcome to AltaVista Solutions Safety Orientation Training Program. This will be a general overview of AVS safety practices and principles as found in the safety manual. As mentioned before, this will be a general overview of the safety program. It will cover the intent and purpose of this training. It will go over the purpose and objectives of the safety manual, who is responsible for compliance and enforcement of the safety manual, and finally, this presentation will go over each employee's roles and responsibilities with regard to safety. Now diving right in, the intent and purpose of this training is to ensure a safe work environment exists for all employees and public and our partners. It is also here to provide input on roles and responsibilities as detailed in the safety manual. And lastly, it is here to provide training to educate other employees on the implementation, management, oversight, compliance, and enforcement of the safety manual. And now to go into the purpose of the safety manual. It is used to provide guidance to AVS employees, supervisors, and managers to ensure a safe work environment. The safety manual is here to prevent human injury and environmental damage from hazardous chemicals, equipment, procedures, and testing methods used by AVS employees. Lastly, the manual is to assure compliance with California laws and regulations at all AVS facilities. However, the safety manual does not supersede or replace any requirements set out by Cal/OSHA regulations, but is here as an interpretation of the regulations. The objectives of the safety manual are to institute a safety program and make the guidelines of the safety manual readily available to all employees. It is to provide employee training on safe work practices. And lastly, an important objective of the safety manual is to inform employees of risks involved in performing their duties, avoid underestimation of risk, and minimize exposure to chemical and physical hazards. When it comes to the compliance and enforcement, it is the responsibility of the supervisors to assure the implementation, management, and oversight of the safety manual. It is also the responsibility of each employee to assure that they are working safely and in compliance with the safety manual. AVS, more specifically the Corporate Safety Officer, shall review and evaluate the effectiveness of the safety manual and update it as necessary. Now this presentation will cover specific roles and responsibilities as laid out in the safety manual. The safety manager is responsible for establishing, administering, and enforcing the company's health and safety program. The safety manager is there to assist, advise, and guide all employees to assure they are operating within the guidelines of AVS Health and Safety Program. First-line supervisors, with the assistance from the safety manager, will provide every employee under their jurisdiction with a general orientation to AVS safety policy and AVS safety rules. They will also provide instructions specific to the employee's assigned job and also provide any personal protective equipment the employee may need. All employees should receive a copy of the company's safety manual, and they are required to read the document and adhere to its policies. Additional copies of the manual can be provided by the safety officer or accessed on the Richmond server under Operations. In addition, the first-line supervisors are also responsible for providing regular formal safety and housekeeping inspections, including inspections of emergency procedures. They should determine the required levels of protective apparel and equipment and ensure that protective equipment is available and in working order. They should be advising their management of any safety needs of their subordinates, as well as encouraging each employee to develop safe and healthy work habits. And also they are responsible for holding regularly scheduled safety meetings. Now, this presentation will delve into the duties and responsibilities of each employee, but first, all employees should know that the responsibility for safety during the execution of any operation or procedure lies with each individual worker. All employees' duties include attending and participating in training and discussions concerning health and safety related issues. They must report any safety hazards they encounter to their supervisor or manager. They need to report to work in a physical condition which will allow the safe accomplishment of the job. They should attempt to correct, if possible, any observed condition or practice that has caused or has the potential to cause any injury or damage to persons or property. An account of their circumstances, in as much accurate detail as possible, should be reported to the supervisor immediately. Also, all employees need to carefully read and obey all requirements of the Injury and Illness Prevention Program, which is located in Section 2 of the Safety Manual. Furthermore, no one shall ever possess or be under the influence of alcohol or controlled substance or substances while on the project site or during the course of the workday. There should never be any horseplay or fighting at the work site, and everyone shall be familiar with and comply with proper health and safety practices. Also, all employees need to use the required safety devices and wear all proper personal protective safety equipment. All employees need to notify their supervisor or manager immediately of any unsafe condition or unsafe acts that you become aware of. Report all accidents, injuries, illnesses to your supervisor immediately. And lastly, all employees should carefully read and understand Code of Safety Practices, which is located in Section 3 of the manual. There are additional responsibilities that employees should also adhere to, which include reviewing and understanding the hazards of materials and processes in their work area prior to conducting work. Employees should develop and use good personal hygiene and safety habits. Also, employees should wear all required personal protective equipment or clothing. And lastly, all employees should understand the capabilities and limitations of personal protective equipment. Employees should keep the work areas safe and uncluttered, and also be sure to utilize appropriate measures to control identified hazards, including consistent and proper use of engineering controls, personal protective equipment, and administrative controls. Also, employees need to complete all required health, safety, and environmental training. When it comes to safety training and information, each employee needs to be trained to understand the risks and precautions associated with their specific job duties, and no employee can work unsupervised until the required training has taken place. In general, the training will also include information on the Injury and Illness Prevention Plan, safety data sheets, permissible exposure limits, emergency safety equipment location and use, personal protective apparel and equipment, emergency action plan, and CPR and first aid training. And also remember to review these items annually. These trainings are expected to result in a reduction in injuries, a reduction in damage to property and supplies, a reduction in retraining time, a reduction in absenteeism, an increase in request for assistance when needed, an increase in production, an increase in company morale, and an increase in company profits. Along with this general overview, there are other elements in the safety manual every employee needs to read and understand. These are driving safety, thermal illness prevention, evacuations, first aid, bloodborne pathogens, working abroad, and the use of forms, accidents, orientation, and pathogens. There are also sections that cover safety communication, hazard ID, accident investigation and reporting, fire safety, personal protective equipment, job-specific safety considerations, and respiratory protection program. Now, in summary, employees should review and become familiar with all aspects of the safety manual. Employees should know that before starting any new task, your supervisor shall provide training and an overview of the hazards associated with the task. Employees should periodically revisit the elements in the safety manual, especially those that are associated with your job duties. Lastly, it is important that employees need to attend all safety meetings regularly and be sure to sign the health and safety training sign-in sheets. This concludes the General Safety Manual orientation. Should any employees have questions regarding safety, contact your supervisor or the corporate safety officer. The information is listed right here. Thank you.